Welcome back. We're looking ahead to the resumption of the season with Tim Sherwood and Ian Wright, and particularly looking at it through the prism of Arsenal and Tottenham and what they're going to do in the last 6-7 weeks of the season. Tottenham resuming this time next week, UK time in the evening against Manchester United. Glenn Hoddle, former Tottenham manager, player, former England manager, is with us as well. Glenn, great to see you looking so well. I hope you have been well and looking after yourself during this difficult time.
Yes, yeah, lovely to be back, isn't it? Yeah, I've been looking after ourselves, and it's been tough, like everyone. Yeah, good that the old football's coming back. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. What are you expecting from Tottenham then in the final 6-7 weeks of this season, Glenn?
Well, I think they've got a massive test. I think the break for them personally came at a very good time for them. I think they're all over the place. Obviously, with getting Sol and Harry Kane back fit is going to be a massive bonus to them. But I still think they've got a long way to go to get in those Champions League spots and maybe even a Europa spot. I think it's really going to be a challenge, not just Arsenal. You know, there's Sheffield United, Wolves. There's so many teams, Manchester United. And they've got to hit the road running. Every club now has got to do that, whether you're fighting for anything. They've got to hit the road running quickly after this break. And I'm not sure, I'm not overly confident that they can actually do it, Mark, to be honest.
Glenn, we've been talking with Tim and Ian about, obviously, Jose Mourinho and what he's got at his disposal. And really, this is a big challenge for him, isn't it? He, in a way, is going to have to coach his way through these next few weeks.
Well, he certainly is. I think he's got to go very individual. And obviously, he's going to hope Kane comes back scoring goals. They've got to give him the service. And Ndombele, I think there's a player in there. He's got to find that. Whether he's gone too far with that lad and they won't get him back, I don't know, as a player. I truly believe there is a player in there waiting to come out. And if he moved on, I think he would be sensational somewhere. So he's really got a challenge there. But I think there's a few positions that he really has to, you know, get the best out. Well, I think in the long term, they need two new fullbacks. I think they need a passer in midfield, a purveyor of the ball. A lot of players at Tottenham at the moment, I don't know if Tim was there, they run with the ball. Too many of them midfield. They don't release the ball quickly. Winks is probably the only one that can do it. But is he an Eriksen? When Eriksen was at his very best, that's how Kane will score goals. Good crosses coming in from your fullbacks and a midfield player that can, you know, Eriksen and Kane had that little bit of eye contact. I don't think they've got that at the moment. Too many players hold on to the ball too long in midfield. And teams, you know, get back in and crowd them out. So I think there's a lot of tactical work to be done on the training ground, but also individuals have got to really up their game if they're going to get into that top. Is it 4 or 5? We still, you know, it could be the 5th spot. But there's so many clubs fighting and clamouring to get in there. Don't count out Wolves and Sheffield United.
Glenn, do you think Jose might have to be a little bit pragmatic? It's not what the Tottenham fans we know for sure want to see, but they also want to see their team in the Champions League next season. So they might have to change. I mean, they haven't kept clean sheets, have they? So, and they haven't been scoring that many goals, albeit Son and Harry Kane was out injured. Yeah,
of course. I think when he first come in, Tim, I think we saw a difference because Kane was in the team and playing. Yeah. They were going direct a little bit. You know, none of this goal kicks coming out from the back. It was get it forward up to Kane. Now they lost Kane through injury. They didn't have a target man really to hit. And I felt they were going, you know, that's how they were doing. I think he might have to go back to that and maybe play a little bit more direct into Kane like he did when he first arrived. He got some good results doing that. They still had enough of the ball in the opponent's half. But, you know, it's not the way Spurs fans are used to watching football being played. But I think, you know, to get it, the main thing is results, getting into that Champions League. The club, certainly the stadium, need Champions League football. There's no doubt about that. And as I say, I really do feel that this is going to be a hell of a race to the
talking like with creativity for me with Spurs, because obviously you mentioned Eriksen's gone, not so much coming from the wing-back areas now. So Dele Alli's role now, where'd you see that? Where's Dele Alli gonna play?
Dele Alli can only play for me in one position. He's not a purveyor of the ball. He's not somebody that you can build a team through and build passing through. So you've got to play him in his favourite position, which is just behind the striker, getting into the box. He loves it when the ball is in front of him and he's arriving in the penalty area. You cannot play through him. I'm sorry, I've seen enough of him. He's a very, very good player. He scores goals for fun. He's a goal machine if he's making them runs into the penalty area, but he still gives the ball away too many times. So somebody else has got to be that. You're right, Righty. You've got to have a playmaker in there. Someone has got to pick passes for Kane. As a striker, you want to make them movements. Someone's got to pick you out. You can make 10 movements, great bit of movement, centre-forward play like Kane does, and the ball never comes.
Yeah.
And strikers get frustrated. So for me, Dele Alli and Kane, it's imperative that they stay fit and they get going back to how they were a few seasons ago. He scored 18 goals in the Premier League 4 seasons ago, Dele Alli. He hasn't got that return for some time. And he's got to get himself in the penalty area, arriving in the box, and I think he'll get back on the score sheet. He's a big player for Tottenham, Dele Alli. I think he's the one that actually, if he goes now, has a really good run and gets confidence scoring goals, he could be the difference.
Yeah.
Glenn, Tim made a really good point that almost the Man United game, which is this time next week, which is Tottenham's first game, in many ways really could shape what happens in the remainder of the season. If they don't get a result, then you think, well, top four's just too far away. They get off to a good start and Son and Kane are scoring goals and the crowd are up for it. It could give Tottenham that momentum for the run-in, where, of course, they welcome Arsenal as well. I mean, that could be as big as that, couldn't it, this opening game, if you like?
It certainly is. As I said, they're almost like 6-pointers, aren't they? Now, if they do lose, if they were to lose that game, then it might be a bridge too far. It really is. They're going to lose touch if they don't watch it. Win the game, get the momentum going, and you've got to hit the. This is like if it was an horse race, it'd be it's a 5 furlong race, isn't it? To the end of the season, it's not the national. So you've got to really hit the road running, and if they can beat Manchester United, then that will set them in a great stall to get the confidence. And build on that. But if there's doubts, if they don't get the right result, there'll be doubts within the camp and within the supporters, and they will have a massive challenge on their hands. But, home advantage, they've got to take it. And it is that big. It really is, Mark.
We're looking at the fixtures now. Man United, then West Ham, which is often a tricky game for Tottenham for whatever reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, without any fans, it may be different. And then going to Bramall Lane, Glenn, where Sheffield United, we were working together that day, weren't they? Were very unlucky not to win at Tottenham earlier this season. I mean, Sheffield United have been outstanding.
They've been absolutely wonderful in the way that they've played as well. It's not just a way of playing from the Championship and, by hook or by crook, playing long ball, whatever. They have really got a great system. And they should have beaten Tottenham. They really should have beaten Tottenham at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that's going to be a tough game. But they're key games. And it's almost like, Mark, if I'm Jose Mourinho, I want them games. It's no good, if you go and win and then them teams winning down the road in their fixtures. There are key matches. Arsenal's a key match. Man United, obviously, and Sheffield United. They're the ones that if you can actually perform and win them games, you're going to give yourself a real good chance of knocking them out of the way and progressing and going on. But it's going to be, as I say, it's going to be an intriguing battle right to the end.
Glenn, one final question to you. As a manager, what would you say to your players about the impact of having no supporters in the ground?
That can work for you. The boys are... sometimes if you get off to not a good start in a game and you go 1-0 down, that crowd can, not only Tottenham fans, but every crowd in the stadium, in the country, can actually get on your back a little bit. And you've got to be brave. You've got to be strong as a player. And now, if you haven't, if you've got a few players that are not playing so well, that can affect you. That's not going to happen. So that could work for you. In the other way, obviously, if you go 1-0 up and and you're a player that likes to play in front of the fans, it's all about self-motivation. This is about who's going to go out there. Managers will know what players need to really try and change their game. And the guys will know. The players that he looks at and says, every training session, they've got pride in their work. They don't want to give one pass away. They don't want to let one ball go under their foot. They want to do it right in training. They won't have a problem. playing with no fans. Some players respond to having spectators there and having the atmosphere and the buzz. And you've got to do that. I experienced a little bit of that myself when I went to Monaco. In the winter, the summer, the stadiums were full. In the winter, at Monaco, there was probably 5,000-6,000 people in the stadium at times. And me and Mark Hateley we had to motivate ourselves. And it's whether the players can have that self-motivation right the way through the Premier League, who end up might actually getting the results that they need, whether they're fighting down the bottom or going for Champions League.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Glenn. Great to see you looking so well. We hope to see you again soon in person. Look after yourself.
Well, it's been lovely to meet up.
Lovely.
See you guys.
Thanks, Glenn. Thank you. That's a really interesting one, isn't it? And you all know in the change room, right, you live off the atmosphere, you love the buzz.
Yeah.
You, it doesn't matter if it's one man and a dog. You know, you're in the middle. It's going to be a really interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've never been in a situation playing reserve games when we used to play in reserve games and you're trying to get back from it. But to have this much on the line this is the crux end of the Premier League. So to be playing these games with what's riding on them with no fans, for me, I'm looking forward to seeing how the players react to it because I've never ever had to be in a position where that's happened. So I'm looking to see how they're going to deal with it.
I think in the offensive end of the pitch, you almost get a free spirit, you know, and they're allowed to try stuff and it may come off. And if it doesn't matter too much. That's why I worry for Arsenal's defence. You know, you're looking at Socrates, you're looking at David Luiz especially. They gild the lily. They try things, you know, and they're not being kept honest, if you like, by the fans. Behind them. I'm in a responsible position, but I'm going to try this. In a training ground, you can imagine him trying things. In a reserve game, we saw a practice match game there against Brentford yesterday. He was trying to flick the ball over a defender's head. That's the sort of thing David Luiz would do if there's no fans there in the Premier League. Now, he can't. It's a responsible position defensively. You need to be responsible. You need to be a leader. He needs to make sure he keeps himself in check.
Let's talk to a man who defended for both Arsenal and Manchester City, so he'll be sitting on the fence when they play next week. Bakary Sagna joins us from Canada. Bakary, great to see you looking so well. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, good morning to you in Canada. So, you want to draw, don't you, Man City, Arsenal? You can't want anybody to win this one.
Yeah, for me, it's a tricky one because I have friends in both teams. And I'm just expect to see the game and to see how the player react from the fact they've been playing without any fans. It might be a bit difficult for them, but they have to find a motivation.
Bakary, what is your assessment of the sort of man that Arsenal have appointed in Mikel Arteta?
Well, I'm not surprised because back in the days, Mikel used to talk about tactics a lot. He's a man of football and he spent some time next to Pep. He has a chance to learn some good tricks, and I think we could see the effect he had on the team. The team was more focused, the team was doing more efforts, and straight after losing the ball, they were trying to recover the ball quite quickly, and we could see some changes, and hopefully it will keep going.
And do you think he's a loss to Manchester City? And if you do, how big a loss do you think he is to Pep Guardiola?
Well, them two used to be very close. You know, they know each other from a long time. Pep knows Mikel from a young age, so they're very complementary. Now, I think it's a big loss for City because he used to be quite close to the players. He used to talk to them a lot, and he used to be the link between the players because he didn't stop not such a long time ago, and he used to be the link between the players and Pep. But yeah, for sure, it's a big loss.
Bakary, you're looking very fit and well, my friend.
I'm trying, thank you.
Now, would you consider going to play for Tottenham because they need a right back at the moment?
You know, football is football to me, but eventually I would love playing because I love the game, but my heart played Arsenal, so.
Good answer, Bakary.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about Arsenal's defence. Tim, in particular, has been talking about it. How much work do you think Mikel Arteta needs to do to that Arsenal defence in the next couple of seasons?
Well, I believe he needs to give them some stability because they've been struggling for quite a long time now, especially with the centre-back. People were not so happy. I believe Socrates and David Luiz are really good players. Now I don't know if they're being under pressure because we kept talking about them, but after committing quite a few mistakes, they were on the radar. But since Mikel came, I think they're more solid and they're more complementary together. And Arsenal doesn't concede many goals too, so I can tell there is an improvement. I've seen David Luiz might be on the go this season, but it would be a good thing for me to see him playing another season, a full season under Mikel. And I think it just needs time. Mikel needs time to settle the defense and make them stronger.
Bakary, I'll ask you one more question. Obviously, Liverpool are going to win the league. Do you think, and we don't know how it's going to play out, but do you think that Manchester City have a serious chance of winning the Champions League this season?
Well, to me, City always being a tough opponent, a good team to play against, to play for also, because at every single position you have top-class players. So I believe they have a chance, yeah. It was probably the best season and the best chance for them to try and win the league. We managed to reach the semi-final not long ago, and I think it's a target for Pep to win the league and to win the Champions League. Sorry, and it might be a bit weird to play in front of no one because you need to find that extra motivation, and you know how important are the fans nowadays. And yeah, maybe it's their chance, and maybe they're gonna have to give even more today and in the future to be more successful and to win the league.
Bakary, stay well. Thank you very much for joining us from Canada this morning.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's finish a couple of minutes then with the matches for Arsenal. I mean, possibly if Arsenal are going to go to Man City, in front of no fans after this break may not be the worst time for them.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're talking about a Manchester City side, like Bakary rightly said, they've got top players in all positions. And, you know, when players like that are playing in the kind of atmosphere where you don't feel the intense pressure of having to, you know what I mean, appease the fans with certain... They relax even more. You know, it's going to be like Arsenal have to go there and they're going to have to really put them under pressure, let them know that, yes, there's no fans in there, but we're going to really make this difficult for you. Because if you do sit off a team and play players like De Bruyne and people like that, and you kind of switch off with Aguero and stuff like, you're going to get punished. And so you have to try and ignore the actual atmosphere and deal with the player for what they are and how good they are and what they're capable of doing.
Yeah. And Man United were on a really good run, and they will fancy it, especially Dele Alli suspended, won't they? It's going to be a heck of a game at Tottenham next week.
Absolutely. With Pogba back, I think he'll play alongside Fernandes, and McTominay will play as a six.
Looking forward to seeing that, to be honest.
Looking forward to seeing Pogba this season, aren't we?
And you got Marcus Rashford back fit and flying. He scored against